And today's seminar is about fats, oils, those things that are put into your diet and what type are healthy and what they can do for you and what they can do to harm you. When we're looking at just general health care, we're talking about changing our dietary fat composition. We always want to encourage exercise, and we want to encourage omega-3 fatty acids, and we're going to talk about those in depth in this seminar. And for those that have tuned in the first time to one of our seminars, welcome. It's nice to have you with us. And we pray that this helps and encourages you to make changes in your life and in yourself as well as your family to be able to improve their health. My job is to try to encourage a wellness change in your body. An idea that you can be empowered to make changes right now with every bite that makes a difference in the well-being of your family and prevention of disease, whether it be now or into the future. So welcome to the program. If you've not signed up for our free newsletter at secondopinion.org, please do. You'll find that every single week, it is not a stagnant system. Every week we have 2 to 3 videos, audio interviews with authors, so you get to hear them and actually listen to the author talk about their book before you decide whether you want to purchase that kind of book for your well-being. And when heart disease and cancer and things like that hit, you want a source like that. And I personally review each one of those books and give you my opinion of that book right on video so you can watch it. So tell your friends and family, sign up, and hopefully this might help encourage saving lives and making your life better. So fats. The important thing about fats that I find is interesting is that when you look at the pyramid itself, fats are given just a little snippet. And the truth of the matter is there are some people that need more fats, some people who need a lot less fats. But the point of it is fats are medicinal, very, very healthy. When we actually look at diets, when we look at diets that are based upon a macronutrient consumption of diet, of fats, if you look at the zone diet, which is kind of a 40-30-30, 40 carbs, 30 proteins, and 30 fats, you'll see where their level is. Then the American Dietetic Association has high carbohydrate base. I have a concern about that. A healthy diet, quote unquote, with lots of hopefully fruits and vegetables, but unfortunately ends up usually being filled with pastas and enriched white flours and potatoes. And then the vegetarian diet, you see this huge difference between them if you're looking at these charts. So when we look at the puzzle on fat, we try to get you to change to use monounsaturated fatty acids in cooking. Okay? That's one of the things we want to see, minimizing the saturated fats. Not that all of them are bad, but we don't want much of them in our diet. And then changing polyunsaturated fats from omega-3s, which we get lots of in our diet, lots and lots, you'll see that later, to lots of omega-3s. Omega-6s we have a lot, omega-3s we want to get rid of, and eliminating trans fatty acids. You've actually seen laws change in this country in relationship to trans fatty acids because we've known this for 30 years. We've been saying it forever. Trans fatty acids harm your health. French fries, things that are vegetable oils that are overheated and used over and over and are rancid in their base. Trans fatty acids are horribly damaging to your health and to your body. Fats you have to realize that the whole idea of, they find no sweeter fat than sticks to our own bones. Walt Whitman was kind of being a poet and making a joke about fats themselves. But the truth is, healthy fats are really important for your wherewithal. And we want you to have those in your diet. We just want you to understand what you're putting in. So let's look at the 3 main classes of dietary fats that we have to look at. Saturated, and you see the molecular structure, who cares about that, but over here you see the examples: lard, butter, and visible fat on steak is a good example, or pork chops or things like that. We want to get limited amounts of those in our diet. Monounsaturated fatty acids, olive oil, we love those. Canola oil, reasonably good. Almonds, avocados, walnuts, Brazilian nuts, really good for you. You notice peanuts aren't on there, by the way. Polyunsaturated fats, vegetable oils such as corn oil. Are they bad for you? The answer is absolutely not. The problem is how we package them and hand them to you is bad and can create some major problems. So what do we need to know about fats? Monounsaturated fats are good fats. Saturated fats need to be minimized, and polyunsaturated fats can be good or they can be very bad. So let's look at polyunsaturated fats. Can they be good or bad? Here's the good part. They're bent, they're flexible, and they lead to increased cellular membrane fluidity. Wow, whatever that means, right? but it's a good thing, bent and flexible, okay? But when they become trans fatty acids, here's what ends up happening, especially after they've been heated or cooked, okay? You know how they come in this clear plastic bottle? Well, most of those are oxidized. If they're not in a dark bottle, you probably have oxidized those oils in the first place. They look beautiful when you approach the grocery store, and you don't want to see any sediment in it because that's bad. It's not, it's just not pretty. But the truth is, when it's that light and it's already been processed and maybe it's been on the shelf for 6 months, most of that's oxidized, probably become trans fatty acids, and most of those types of vegetable oils are really harmful to you. You're just basically pouring free radical damage in your diet and in your family's tummies, and possibly causing some problems, okay? So they're prone to oxidation, they're easily oxidized, and if they are oxidized from heating and cooking and baking and things like that, they become very, very bad. And they are the building blocks for all eicosanoids. What are those? Inflammatory or pro-inflammatory occurrences in the body. So here is what we want. Anti-inflammatory we want. Pro-inflammatory we don't. And how we treat those fats, those specific vegetable oils, is a key component to your heart disease, cancers, and other diseases in your body that can be very, very harmful, okay? If you look at this thing, it's called polyunsaturated fat that's good. If you look at the bottom, it says cis, C-I-S. We want that. Trans is the bad form, cis is the good form, okay? Polyunsaturated fats kind of gives you this picture. And what's interesting, here's your membranes, but if you think of skin, a wrinkly, old, crusty, and it doesn't have to be old. Wrinkly skin that's just very unhealthy looking has many times many trans fatty acids in it. And the reason why I say that is this, okay? Is that when a trans fatty acid, when you eat a lot of trans fatty acids, it replaces this flexible, good cis form of fatty acid, which means that skin that should be nice and flexible and easy, cell membranes that should be nice and flexible become stiff and resilient. Non-resilient and can't handle stress, and they break much more easily. So the truth is, if we've been sitting around eating French fries from special fast food restaurants for many years, and we've allowed our kids to have it from 2 years old up, let me tell you, there's a lot of making up to do for it, folks. Lots of good fats over multiple years to get that out of their body, because that's very harmful, and it changes the wherewithal of every single cell in your body. So is it important? It's breathtakingly important. Let me tell you, for the country to start actually changing this, it had to be so overwhelming it was silly. We're talking about it for the last 30 years. Finally, we're doing something about it. Remember that by the time a government has to take steps, or the Senate or the Congress to take steps, we're 20, 30 years behind. So just remember that, okay? And if you're still visiting those type of restaurants 2 and 3 times a week with your kids because you just will not take the time or plan the time or find another way, shame on you. And the reason why I say shame on you is because you're actually, with this seminar, you now have carnal knowledge that you're harming your family by doing this. And it is categorically true. If you go to California, you'll see all the lawsuits have been actually been filed by their state government, who has a really strong governmental agency. Here in the state of Indiana, we hardly have any state agency to attack things like this in the healthcare area. But in there, they actually have suits against certain fast food restaurants that continue to use bad fats. Okay, so that should tell you something, okay? So bottom line is, polyunsaturated fats then become really bad fats when they are heated with high heat, or they're put under pressure or catalyzed in a conversion. So the result goes from the cis fatty acid to this trans fatty acid, and makes your system work much more inefficiently and age much quicker. So eliminating trans fatty acids is, if you're going to use vegetable oils, you can't be cooking those. That is not what you use those type things for. Maybe over salads, things like that. And try to buy them in dark bottles. If you can't buy them at one of the normal groceries, you're going to have to go to a health food store and get the dark bottles that are healthy for you. You're going to pay more. But let me tell you, you're going to pay so much money in disease with you and your family because of these steps that it will more than outweigh that $3 extra you pay for that bottle, because all you have to do is pay that $1,000 deductible 1 year, and the year after, and the year after, and the year after somebody gets a disease, heart disease, cancer, or something severe, that you're going to think it was nothing to pay $3 extra for that bottle. So let's get over the numerical end of it that's very confusing to us when it's day to day, but when we have to put out the big bucks for a disease process, preventing is by far the finest treatment that you can encounter, okay? So use those dark containers, okay? And it can't be left to stand more than 3 to 6 months. If it is, it's done. Got to get rid of it, okay? We know what French fries is all about. We know olive oil has some really great medicinal value. Mediterranean diet has demonstrated that for many, many years, as well as fish oils that have been demonstrated in the Norwegian regions, as well as the Japanese, who have shown good examples of reducing, if not almost eliminating, heart disease when omega-3 acids are high, the good fatty acids. So what types of oils are the omega-3 and the omega-6? Why are they called essential fatty acids? Okay, we know that omega-3 and omega-6 are polyunsaturated fats. And what we know is, when you look at why they're called that, because humans cannot manufacture them from simpler compounds. You either supply them in your diet to stay healthy, or your body suffers. So the first essential omega-3 oil is linoleic acid, LA. Okay, it's found in cooking oils, and there's no shortage of this in the diet. So you don't have to push for omega-3 oils. The other essential, omega-3, alpha linoleic acid, ALA. You might have seen it in some of your nutrients. Okay, they're found in grass-fed animals. Beef that's grass-fed, not grain-fed. Don't confuse. Almost everything that's in your market is grain-fed, does not have as high a level of omega-3 fatty acids, and certain cold water plankton and algae. How do you get it in the diet? The only source? Animal and fish who consume foods that contain ALA. So if they're grain-fed, you're not getting it. Livestock that's grain-fed, they don't have any ALAs. So unless it is salmon and things like that comes from the great seas that eat plankton, green matter, you're not going to get it either. So here's the thing. Grass-fed beef, okay, or salmon, not from farm-raised. If they're farm-raised, I can guarantee you they're not feeding them seaweed and plankton. They're not getting omega-3 acids. And many of you are right now listening to this and go, oh my gosh, I've been buying farm-raised forever. It's cheaper. They say it's really good for you. Let me tell you, farm-raised fish, not all, but a large majority, are fed the same diet as the grass-fed cows that now don't have omega-3 fatty acids that are healthy for you. So keep that in mind, okay? Really important. So ALA is converted into EPA and DHA. That's fish oils. Just call them fish oils so you don't get confused. And it occurs after the ingestion of certain animals. So once you've eaten salmon, let's stay with salmon, we can convert ALA, alpha linoleic acid, into EPA, but slow and incomplete process. It's very, very difficult to do it. So taking ALA as your only supplementation might not be the best choice. You might want to jump to real fish oils. EPA DHA is manufactured in cold water plankton and algae. If they don't have that, whatever you're eating, and most of you might have fish once a week, maybe once a year. So you're not even getting close. Fish merely stores the ingested EPA DHA, okay? They do not have the ability to make EPA DHA. Your body does, but we need that EPA DHA in a whole form if you're going to get the good omega-3 fatty acids. Farm-raised fish, they're not fed plankton, therefore they don't have EPA DHA. So foods today contain only 20% of the omega oils that used to be around at the turn of the century. Okay? Why? All cows, all sheep, they ate grass. They were grass-fed animals. That's why they had those, 4 or 5 stomachs, and could break down the grass and everything and get the omega acids out that were healthy for you. Okay? So currently the estimate is that we consume about 100 milligrams per day. We know that omega-3 oils are given worldwide to help prevent heart disease. And right now in our country, we are horribly deficient in it and minimally talk about it. And if you don't have fish oils in your diet on a daily basis, your susceptibility to the #1 killer of all Americans, males and females, heart disease, is elevated significantly. I can say that because the research supports it. 100 years ago, we butchered a cow and we butchered a goat or whatever we did, but we ate meat that had heavy amounts of omega-3. We received approximately 1,500 milligrams in our diet a day just eating those types of diets. And our chickens were free-range raised, and the eggs themselves had omega-3 fatty acids. The problem with it is almost nothing that's in our stores right now is grown this way. Unless you're very careful and you have a local farmer that grows it the way that would be healthy for you, that's a different story. So less than 10% of what we used to have centuries ago. Is that a big issue? Let me tell you, massive issue to our well-being. And if you just look here, it just talks about cod and flounder and salmon, and it talks about all these having some omega-3 acids, fish oils in it, that are very, very good. Okay? So how do we store these oils to our diets? How do we restore them? How do we get them back in? Supplementation is the only viable way. The idea of eating salmon 5 days a week is almost an impossibility for the majority of the public. A few of you, you might be okay, all right? But they can be gotten through ALA-containing oil, such as flaxseed or canola, but remember, it's incomplete. It's a very hard transition to take that and make it into EPA-DHA. So what do I recommend? Marine oils immediately, fish oils, EPA-DHA fish oils. Why use marine oils? EPA is approximately 10 to 20 times more biologically active than the ALA when taken orally. So when you're swallowing those, it's 10 to 20 times more active, and it's healthy for you. One of the things that we want to recommend to you immediately, that's 10 to 20 times more effective per pill than any other. So we want you to look at it. And ALA has a tendency to sometimes gum up the metabolism issue of converting to omega-3s and can cause some omega-6. It actually diverts and actually starts producing some omega-6s, and we don't want that to happen, okay? Some of the research shows that the same benefits are obtained with flaxseed oil to restore the ratio of EPA-DHA supplementation. Add enough ALA to obtain a 1 to 1.2 ratio, and you could reach the levels you want, but you have to take a lot, okay? So no improvement. What their bottom line said of this research is, unfortunately, ALA is not the best way to do it. It just doesn't seem to be as healthy. But when we add fish oils, we get massive changes. Up to 6 capsules a day. If we are already predisposed to heart disease and you're with a cardiologist, check with them. Most will tell you lots of omega-3 oils are really good for you and it's something that you should use. They're usually in 1,000 milligram capsules and should be utilized on a daily basis. Okay, so the imbalance between these omega-3 and omega-6 is one key element to the emergence of industrial country disease patterns. In other words, if you've not seen our Vital Health, Secrets to Vital Health, you'll see in the beginning it talks about a guy named Dr. Price who did extensive research in countries that before industrialized Western refined diets came in, he was able to test these patients, their teeth, their gums, their general wherewithal, their general health. And when those Western diets came in, heart disease elevated, cancer elevated, obesity, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, arthritis, they all got worse. One of those reasons is the omega-3 diet disappeared. Just disappeared, just like us 100 years ago. Okay? So you need to realize that. We have to know that we have to start taking active steps to make a difference. And essential fatty acids are the precursors for inflammatory or anti-inflammatory or pro-inflammation in our body. So it's a really big issue. And we know that the whole idea of supplementing with omega-3 oils is a key component to your wherewithal. So one of the prime goals, the regulation of these eicosanoids, which are inflammatory chemicals in your body, need to be controlled. The higher the amount of omega-3 oils that you put in, now this chart will sometimes just make no sense to you, but just buy into what I'm telling you. A few things that we know is this, that if in fact we have low blood sugar with we maintain our blood sugar by utilizing a low glycemic diet is helpful. You'll see it here on the chart on the right hand side in the red where it says inhibited by glucagon and EPA. EPA is the fish oil. So if you have a low glycemic diet, I know that comes out of the blue, it helps decrease your swelling. If you take lots of fish oils in, you decrease your swelling and inflammation. When you control swelling and inflammation of the body, you control a majority of the diseases that we deal with today. Think about it. Fish oils, low glycemic diet, and if you've not got our carbohydrate seminar, that will explain that in detail, and I think it'll be very advantageous. Control those two areas, exercise and maintain a lower stress life. You've done a lot to decrease swelling. Instead of taking the anti-inflammatories like in this chart, where anti-inflammatories and steroids and aspirins and indomethacin and things like this that actually have side effects all the time, just taking fish oils and having your blood sugar level and eating a diet with non-enriched flours, and sugars, then you're doing a lot to control swelling. So interesting enough of having good fats is also that it has a great side effect of controlling what? Inflammation. You can control inflammation, you control disease processes. Interesting enough, many of us take ibuprofen, aspirin, and things like this, but one of the things that many of those do not actually change is something called leukotrienes. Leukotrienes are pro-inflammatory and they're secreted in the body, and they can, asthmatic patients as well as allergy patients that have upper respiratory problems, leukotrienes are frequently the problem. Fish oils and a low glycemic diet actually does affect it, but aspirin and ibuprofen many times does not affect leukotrienes. Only steroids do. Actually, and you can't take steroids too long without major side effects, so it's a big issue. In fact, those leukotrienes actually affect your immune system. They actually increase capillary permeability, so that things you're exposed to, you have more allergic reactions to it. Allergies then get worse, inflammation gets worse, insulin secretion gets worse, thus we have big issues. The bottom line is this: what we can expect when you're taking in fish oils is a 20 to 30% drop in triglyceride levels if you have high triglycerides. Improved energy levels, decreased pain and inflammation, improved asthma, improved skin conditions such as eczema and psoriasis. So the truth is, what do oils do for you? Many things, but what we know is cooking with vegetable oils are not a recommended therapy or a recommended way of preparing foods. Vegetable oils in dark containers that you want to pour over your salads or your vegetables is fine. But when we're cooking, we want olive oils, canola oils, and nut oils that don't break down as much and have problems. And when we're having French fries, we bake them in the oven, but we don't go out and buy them from those special places, because they're horribly harmful and actually set in play each time they eat these a progressive change in their chemistry that we know is harmful. That's a trans fatty acid. Hope this has been stunning. Hope it's been encouraging, and you might have to watch this several times because we cover lots of things. But we want lots of omega-3 oils. We want lots of fish oils in our diet. We want lots of olive oil and canola oil and those types of nut butter oils. But we want to stay away from vegetable oils in clear containers and fats that comes from animals any more than we possibly can. And if we can get them to be grass-fed or free range, we get a much healthier chance at a healthier diet and a healthier body. And prevention of disease is a step further away from us if in fact we do these types of things. We hope that you've been encouraged today. We hope you share this with family and friends. We hope you register at secondopinion.org so you can stay up to date on to further information that comes out. We thank you for tuning in, and may God bless.